I guess I'm just explaining what the Lord how He brought me here, right? Okay, so about, when was it? It was 2011, March 2011. The Lord really just totally wrecked my life. Everything was just completely changed, transformed. My whole way of thinking, everything. Like the Lord just came in radically and just totally messed my whole life up, my whole way of thinking, everything. So me and some buddies who the Lord was doing very similar works in found this place out in Canton, Gateway Church, and they have a house of prayer there. A lot of what the Lord was revealing to us and speaking to us was all confirmed through the what's called the International House of Prayer out in Kansas City. And so we were out in Canton for a couple years, just serving out there. The Lord was just teaching us a lot, crazy revelation just constantly. And the Lord was just revealing what He's doing in this hour in His church, what He's preparing His bride for, and what's to come. And we were getting just really awesome words from the Lord, and just about what He was going to be doing, what He was preparing us for, and teaching us. So we were meeting. A group of us were meeting on Sunday nights, and just praying, just coming together, getting into a time of worship, and just praying for hours. And the Lord was speaking and doing a lot. And so one Sunday we get together, and some of my buddies are there, and we just go into a time of worship, and the Lord just starts speaking through us, and we have a little time of just prophetic ministry with each other. Just a couple guys had some words for me, and I had some words for them, and it was really awesome. And we just get into a time of prayer after that, and the entire time we're praying, the Lord just my mom and Larry had been out here for, I think you guys had been here, like had actually started it for like a year, and I didn't have any plans whatsoever of being in Kent, because like I said, we were plugging away to what the Lord was doing with us in Canton. But we're praying, and the Lord just keeps hammering me about Kent, like just hitting me over the head with Kent. Just it was all that was on my mind the whole time, and it was just like heavy. And He says, like the one thing He says, take what you've been learning in Kent or in Canton to Kent. That was it. He just said, take the things that you've been learning here and take them to Kent. So like, okay. It was very clear. And every time the Lord does something like that, every time He has this new assignment for me, He makes it real clear, do this. And so I just say yes and do it. And so after we're done praying, I'm like, guys, I gotta tell you this. Like, I had we're discussing things that we're gonna be doing in Canton and whatnot, and I'm like, guys, I gotta tell you what just happened. And so I share with them, and the two guys that were there, Stephen and Jimmy, who have been here, you guys have met before. They're freaking out. They're like, no, like they're just freaking out. And I'm like, why are they so excited about this? And they're like, we've been praying, like the Lord just put these different college campuses on our heart, and we've been praying, like, God, how do we get there? Like we have contacts with everybody in all these college campuses in this region except for Kent. We have like no idea, nobody in Kent. And so, I was telling them what was happening down here and everything like that. So, long story short, I come out here, and shortly after that, we start the Kent House of Prayer, which is what we've been doing on Monday and Wednesdays. And so we get that started up, and we have, like the whole purpose is just, what is the Lord speaking to His church in this region and as a whole throughout the world right now? And so my heart is just to be here and relay that message. My desire is to raise up people who know the Lord's heart, know what His plan is, know what He's doing, and that go after that. So it's what I've been attempting to do through the House of Prayer, and we just really feel strongly that it's through that it all starts with prayer and it all starts with worship. It starts with getting before the Lord, really knowing who He is, seeking after His face, just being in the presence of God, and just really seeking His face, gaining His heart for what He's doing in His church, what He's doing where He has put us. And so if we can lay that foundation of just prayer and intercession and worship before the Lord, that's where He equips us. That's where He builds us up, and we can actually be the ones that can then go out and do what everybody's been talking about doing, loving the city. So I've just, my priority is to come in and just establish that foundation of prayer and worship. That's what I've been trying to do. And one of the words that's been spoken over that, I wanted to share, because it's the word that the Lord's given the House of Prayer. And I'll just share it with you guys real quick. It's in Isaiah 61. So this is the thing. This is what we're going after. This is what the Lord spoke over us. And it's funny. I'll share how it happened, but I'll read it first. We were having a training school taking place here, focused on training up evangelists and campus missionaries. And we had this crazy time where the Lord was just speaking. And so we had all these people that the Lord was just giving things to about what He's wanting to do in Kent. And let me find this here. It says in Isaiah 61:4, it says, "And they shall rebuild the old ruins. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations. Strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the foreigner shall be the plowmen and the vine dressers." It says, back in 3, it says, "To counsel those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness." It says, here's what was really stressed. It says that they may be called trees or oaks of righteousness in some translations, the planting of the Lord, that He may be glorified. And so the Lord was just highlighting that He's going to be raising up through this oaks of righteousness. He just kept saying oaks of righteousness. And it was funny because the guy who was giving this word didn't realize that Kent is called the Tree City, and the symbol is the acorn, and the acorn is a seed of an oak. And so we were just freaking out over how good the Lord is and how He loves to just do these little intricate things. But we just really believe that it's through this really steadily going after the Lord for His heart for Kent, that He's going to raise up us as oaks of righteousness planted strong here in Kent, and that through that it's going to change the atmosphere around us. Just really believe that through praising. Another word that we got was that through I'm trying to make this quick, but through seeking the Lord in worship and in praying and in just crying out to the God, heavens will be opened. And this is something the Lord has been putting on my heart recently. And then through two giants of the faith in the area, they confirmed it through different words, but it's through seeking His face, He will open up heaven over us. And so we've been going after this whole thing where the Lord opened heaven over this place, and through that it will change the atmosphere. It will go out of these doors and change the whole atmosphere of the city. And so we're just believing that that's exactly what's going to happen, and we've seen that. So we're really believing that the Lord is going to shift the atmosphere of Kent. So that's what we're here for.
Through Mary and Larry, I met Chris and Sherry Callahan. In November, I helped with my first and certainly not my last Thanksgiving dinner. Tears came to my eyes when I walked into the catering center where the dinner was going to be served. The decorations that greeted me were breathtaking. I still have pictures on my phone. I was truly blessed to be among people who love God and wanted to give freely of their time and talents for the nursing home residents. I feel blessed to have been a part of the light this last year. Some of the time was very hectic. The week of VBS was tiring but very rewarding. I prayed for the kids we met and can't wait to love them again. The Festival of Lights was amazing and crazy. Never thought I'd dress in costume and sing on a street corner. People remember us. Handing out water on a hot Saturday morning at the Heritage Day Festival was a lot of fun. People remember us. There have been many other activities where our presence has been noticed. God has been noticed. Chris Callahan once said, "We are putting on the hands of Jesus when we help others." Jesus and his disciples did not sit around and wait for everyone to come to them. Being a part of this ministry has given me an opportunity to fulfill my dream of helping others. It will be a continuing dream. I'm still a divorced, single mom. I realize and feel blessed that as long as I am serving God, I will always have very little pocket change. That's it. Thanks.
Just
I'd rather not, but okay. So Larry texted me during the week and said, "Hey, will you talk?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What do you want me to talk about?" And he never got back to me. So I called him last night, which is probably why he then talked to you after he talked to me. So he says, "Why are you here? Why do you come to the Light in Kent?" I'm thinking, what brought me to Light? What brought me to Kent? Because I also have not spent much time in Kent before this. Drove through it a couple times. I grew up in church. Grew up with the Nazarenes. In the words of a previous pastor, I was a drug addict. I was drugged to church every Sunday, then I drugged to church again Sunday night, then drugged back to church on Wednesday. Every week. Faithfully. Every week. But every church that I've ever been in has always been so rigid. Everything is by the book, by the rules, and it's not always been by the Bible. And I've always been seeking something more than the rules. I'm sick of the rules. So sick of the rules. And now today, as a single divorced mom, I just want to throw all the rules out the window because I'm judged as a mom. I'm judged as a housekeeper. I'm judged as just everything. This world just does nothing but judge. And being here in Kent has been refreshing. Absolutely refreshing, because I too bounce from church to church. Big churches, little churches, churches in between, tiny churches where there was only like 5 people on a Sunday, and I'm not talking about here. Been to Baptist churches, everywhere. I've been all over the map when it comes to religion. And again, it's all just a set of rules. And I can't do rules. I learned a long time ago, I am not a rule maker. I'm not a rule follower. Give me a rule and I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it. Being here in Kent has been serving and loving and come as you are. And let's pray before we do that. And let's just stop and pray and ask God what he wants. And I've never seen that in a church before. And that's always what I thought church should be. What does God want? Where's God going to take us today? What does God want to do today? And it's never been about what does Larry want to do today? What does Mary want to do today? What does Michael want? And it's never been that. And I'm so glad that I'm in a church where the only rule is, what does God want to do today? What does God want to do today? So, that's why I'm here.
Well, as he said, I was just in the email one day, and
What happened was my youth pastor, he was getting his ministry license because our church was going through this transition phase. And so he became the youth pastor, and he needed to take ministry classes. And I believe Larry was teaching it. Mm-hmm. You were teaching it. Mm-hmm. And he heard that Larry was starting a church in Kent and that I was going to be in Kent. So my youth pastor's name is Dan, and he came up to me one day, and he's like, hey, I found this church. He's like, I think it'll be great. You should try it out. He's like, here's his number and everything. So I contacted them. And I don't know. It seemed like everything with this church just fell into place. And, like, just immediately, like, the first time we met them, I just felt, like, the love that they had, you know, for their ministry and for, you know, not just people going to their church, but everybody. You guys care more about the fact that they have a relationship with Jesus more than an attendance number. And that really means a lot to me. And, well, okay. I'm going to try to keep it short. It's kind of long. But Larry asked me to sing this song called Blessings by Laura Story. And it talks about how the hard times in your life can turn into blessings and greater things that God makes it into. And for years, my dad has been, like, really sick. He's had diabetes for 20 years. So he had, in 2009, the fall of 2009, he found out that his kidneys were failed. And so we're still going through the process of trying to get him on a transplant list and everything, but until then he has to be on dialysis. And he has so many other issues. And in 2011, he found out that he had 3 bulging discs in his back, so he had to get a surgery done, or he would have become paralyzed and eventually passed away from it. And that was just the start of a very long journey because he had a lot of complications. He ended up being in the ICU for about 5 months, and that was the summer before my senior year. So, of course, I'm freaking out because I'm going to have to leave soon, and my dad's sick, and I don't know if he's going to make it. And when I got here, my dad, I don't know, by October of my senior year, he actually came home, and he had a hospital bed in the living room and everything, all that stuff. And he was actually able to, you know, walk again without a walker and everything by the time we met Larry and Mary. And I started having health problems. I had to get my gallbladder taken out last Christmas and everything. And so it was just really great because they just, like, we told them what happened, and they were just really supportive of it. And, you know, they actually prayed about it, and they really cared that, you know, we got through this because we were struggling emotionally and everything. I poured out to Mary the one day, and she just listened, and she was really there for me, and she was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that I was okay. And then this year, my dad ended the dialysis caused things to go wrong with his heart, so he had to get open heart surgery. And that surgery actually went great. But during that surgery, my mom was trying to work full-time and take care of my dad. And the week that he got I think the week after he got his surgery, they actually came up, Larry, Mary, John, and Linda, and Joyce helped too. They actually came up and bought us groceries and took me out to lunch for that day and bought me flowers. And they gave us a card and just a lot of gifts that we really appreciated. My parents were really crying. I actually have a card to give you guys. But that blessed us more than you guys know. It really made us know that you really cared and that you put your love into action. You just don't talk about it. And that means a lot to me because that's showing the love of Christ is something that's always been close to my heart. And so that's why I'm here, because they just really show their love towards people, and all they want to do is see people, you know, be changed by the love of Christ. That's all they want. They just want to do what God's will is, and that really means a lot to me. And so I love you guys.
David, go ahead, brother. Stand up. Oh. I love this man.
I met Pastor Larry and Mary over at another church, and right away I saw that, that things that wanted to be done were being stifled. And that just really aggravates me when people have talent and they're not allowed to show it. And what a lot of the world is missing now are people pastors. And I really feel that Pastor Larry and Mary, they're people pastors, and they have a passion for people and the lost. And it kind of brought me to a scripture, because I'm listening to what everybody is saying, and it's, I know on Channel 3, I was telling John, they had a big thing about Kent on Channel 3. And, for so many years, Kent was known as, the place where all the students were killed. You didn't really ever hear anything more about Kent besides that. And I saw this thing about the storefronts and how the what do you call it? Over in Kent, there's more kids. I lost my. Yeah, there's just a lot more people going there, and how the city is being brought up with the storefronts. And just the one thing that brought to my mind was this in Matthew chapter 9, verse 35. It says, Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And I just really think that that's what's happening here, and that's why God brought you guys here. And then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, and send out workers into his harvest field. And, like a lot of people were saying how, they were, you guys came to Kent, and what was your vision and everything. And I know you guys were going around praying. You'd walk up and down the streets praying and everything, And I just really feel that's a good scripture for you guys, that, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And you guys, everybody that's here, you're just going to do good in this town. I can just see it. I just had to say something. I really love you guys. You guys are a lot of fun in church, out of church, and great people to know. So thanks a lot for everything that you guys are doing.
But how I came to be here is actually kind of funny. I had been without a church family for a couple of years. That I was attending a small startup church, and they dissolved. And I'd been looking for something local because they were all the way out in Ritztown, and I live around the block. And I have a couple dogs. I walk them all over town, and I kept seeing the sign out front for this, and kept telling myself I need to stop in there. I need to stop in there and see what they're all about. And my mom is in her 60s. She doesn't drive, and she was telling me she rides Parda, and she was telling me that she was riding the bus one day, and she was talking about Jesus to the bus driver, because my mom is so much better about that than I am, and she'll talk about Jesus to anybody who will listen.
And she had purple hair that day.
She had purple hair. My mom is pretty awesome, and she rocks the awesome hair. And she was talking about Jesus to the bus driver, and I guess when she got off the bus and the bus driver got off and was talking with her about Jesus and told her that he's a pastor and he's starting up a church. Well, that bus driver was Larry. And so she calls me and she's telling me this story. And she said, he's starting this church in Kent on Water Street. And I'm like, I walk by that every day. Every single day. So now I have to stop and meet this guy and see what this is all about. And so they were doing the Festival of Lights, and I was downtown with Christian trying to see Santa Claus, which that was not happening. There were 300-400 people down there with their kids, and it was cold, and it was not happening. we did see crazy people dressed up. And they were caroling, and we walked by, and they're handing out warm cider and a good word, so we stopped in to see what this is all about, and I got to talk to Larry, and it was really neat to see how God had worked, that he had the two of them meet so my mom could make sure to tell me that, yes, this sounds like it's going to be the right kind of place for you. Because I've been to several churches. I've been to a Baptist church. I've been to a very fundamentalist, by the book, not always by the Bible, church. And it was a real turnoff for me. And I've been looking for something that's a little more laid back, a little more welcoming to people in general. And if you're here for my testimony, you'll find out why. And it was just a really neat way to watch God work. And I came and got to meet them, and then about 2 weeks later, because the weather was horrible, and I wasn't leaving the house with the newborn, but a couple weeks later I came in, and the word was right on, and the worship was great, and it was an absolutely amazing experience, and it's been a real privilege to be a part of this church and watching you guys grow. And I really, really look forward to seeing what you do in this town, because it really needed something like this.